Yeah, good morning to all. It's obviously big week as I guess fall is ending and we move into the winter season of where football is still going on, obviously, but there's a lot of other sports that are getting kicked off. And I'd love to wish good luck to our Coach Jay and women's basketball and Bruce and men's basketball. And I know volleyball has a huge match coming up. So Coach Crouch and his squad were pulling for them also. So a lot of good things going on this week. I'm glad I'm not with Bruce in South Dakota. I don't. That wouldn't be a fun trip for me, but I'm sure he's enjoying it because he's made that way. But good luck to all those teams this week. Watching the film yesterday, there was a lot of good things and some that were not so good, and then some that had we made certain plays, the game would have been firmly in control. And I don't know that we can have those not go our way this week in Arkansas. Really impressed with them. I think they've lost 5 games by 1 score or less to really good football teams, and obviously they're coming off of a big win on the road in Gainesville, and I think they've got a lot of motivation, and it's a very scary team. I think they're doing a really good job. They're really good on defense, stopping the run, and obviously KJ's I've had great respect for him for many years now, and knew him out of high school, and he's a great leader, and they've kind of gone back to playing like they did last year offensively, it appears. So, and they seem much more confident. So we got our hands full with that, excited about winning at Vanderbilt again. Thank our fans. I thought they were incredible, showed up, and really felt like we were at a neutral site game at worst, and really just never had any problem communicating or anything, and I think our fans were just incredible. So we're looking to become bowl eligible. I think that's big in year one. Jarquez has had some good games. Peyton has completed around 70% of his passes the last 2 weeks, and 5 TDs with 1 interception. That was a bad choice, but has been solid, and that's with several drops. Really, I think we had 7 drops is what I tallied after watching the film. So we had 3 scores of 50-plus yards. And that's the second time that's happened in 20 years. So we're starting to see some signs of some good things, but we got to clean up the ones that are not so good and make all the ones that come our way that we do have good calls and we execute it correctly. And you know, we had 2 touchdowns called back. Jarquez scored on 2 runs, both called back. Both were good calls. They were penalties. And just neither one had to happen. You know, not one time have we ever discussed cutting from the tight end position. Not one time, nor do we practice that. And then Rivaldo's hold on the last one that Jarquez ran in, it didn't have to do it. And so we've got to lock in and be a little more focused and clean some of that up, or those will hurt us in these upcoming games.
First question, KJ. Hey, you said last week that you were more involved in the game planning offensively. Seemed like, are you calling some plays now? You seem more involved in that on the game.
Yeah, it's a collaboration. You know, I'm very involved but Monty's calling his share too, and it's a partnership, and kind of depends on how it's going, and you know, but I'm very involved with what's on the call sheet for sure, and what shouldn't be on there.
You like a golfer watching putts fall. How important is just seeing plays happen and success on offense and just starting to kind of believe? Is that a big deal?
Yeah, I thought you know, we played with some confidence and swagger last week, particularly the first half, and then you know, got off to a fast start. and was really optimistic about some of the. I really felt good about our. I work hard at explosive plays and the possibilities of those, and really felt good about our chances at having some explosive plays, and we should have. We had some, but it should have been more. And I think the more we're successful at doing that, the more confidence and swagger that our kids will play with.
Hey, Coach, with KJ Jefferson, getting to watch him over the years, he's so difficult to bring down. I know you emphasize tackling in practice, but how much is that going to be a point of coaching this week to make sure that you bring him fully to the ground because he is so strong?
Yeah, it's amazing some of the tackles he gets out of and then extends plays. So that will be certainly an area that we've got to. I mean, you watch him enough, you know you're not going to get him on the ground every single time. You just hope that those are not explosive runs or explosive passes that happen after you miss him. But he's very, very strong and very, very difficult to get on the ground.
Coach, a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that you had what you phrased a put up or shut up, conversation with Peyton Thorne. He averaged about 30 throws a game at Michigan State before he got here. Over the last 2 weeks, you've thrown the ball significantly more. Had he expressed any frustration to you about the volume of throws in the game plan?
No, not about the volume. We're both frustrated, and we talk openly. But I don't ever remember. It wasn't a case, well, I need a certain volume of throws. I mean, there's a lot of really good football teams that are finishing games now. If you go look at the stats, 12 for 19 or 16 for 19. And it's never about volume for him nor I. It's about executing what the plan is and executing it well and throwing accurate balls to the right spot. So never been one to say it needs to be X amount, nor has he expressed that either.
Yes, Hugh. What status of Avery Jones this week, and if he does return, what will be the plan for Connor Lew?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't talked to Robbie and the medical staff yet about. We probably won't know until Wednesday or Thursday what Avery's status is, and Connor still will play some. I don't think him being out the last 3 weeks, particularly when it's a lower leg injury, that he's going to be ready to go out there and play 60, 70 snaps. So if he is available, it still will be a shared responsibility.
Around this time last year, you guys at Liberty went to Arkansas and won that game. I know you said kind of each game you sort of look at your team and motivate them in a little bit of a different way. What do you remember about that day that got them up to kind of have that kind of performance to get that win?
Yeah, we had come off of a big win against BYU, and I believe it was after an open week that we traveled to Arkansas. The first thing I was concerned about is my experience in Arkansas in November has not been pleasant. The 2 times we went there when I was at Ole Miss, the weather was atrocious. And I was just thankful that when we went at Liberty, it was actually a nice day. And it appears this Saturday is going to be fairly nice. I tell our teams the truth. And I remember telling them, listen, you're the underdog. You shouldn't win this game. But that's what makes it fun, to go and give it a shot and while you play the game. And you don't have to be better 10 times. You just have to be better that one day. And I can't remember exactly what our theme was that week or anything, but our kids played really hard that day, I know, and stopped their run pretty much. So there's something we need to do this week also.
You mentioned Saturday about just wanting to look back at the film to see the offensive line and how they handled just different protection schemes, running backs, tight ends too. If you've done that now, kind of what did you think about it?
Disappointed, truthfully, in our protection. just and again, when I say disappointed, I'm not saying O-line, running backs, quarterbacks. It was all of us. Peyton, I mean, the first third down, I see exactly what's happening, and I just felt surely he sees, because we did a freeze, and the end was dropping, and the backer was coming, the safeties were rolling, and I mean, I know you see that, and we did not set the protection right on that, and I think he missed 2 protections. A running back totally, Damari missed an easy look, and then our O-line had 3 or 4 that were. And I'm not talking about just getting beat. I'm talking about we're not handling when they were really twisting a lot away from the back, and you have to get vertical to be able to pass that off and stay on the same level. And man, we were several times we were on different levels, and you're gonna get pressure in a hurry when you do that. So we were average at best.
Hey, these past 2 weeks, was it more of the game plan going in that Peyton was going to play every snap, or was it he's just playing so well you're not going to take him off the field?
Well, it was, this is what we're going to do offensively, and I believe Peyton's skill sets are the most prepared for what we're doing. It's not a negative toward anybody else. I think when you talk about playing with tempo, setting our protections, throwing accuracy with footballs, and understanding coverages, I think he's the farthest along in that. I think Holden had one heck of a week last week, and he can really spin it, and he's probably one that I think he's got a bright future.
You spoke earlier this year about Jalen Simpson being a joy to coach. What are some things you see him consistently doing at a high level?
His energy and passion, work ethic. He comes to work every day. He prepares. He does it with energy and a smile on his face. And it's not a I have to. It's a I get to mentality. And pleased with his progress for sure.
17 points in the first half on Saturday, 14 in the second half. I just didn't know if you had an explanation for the huge drop-off of 3 points from the first half to second half.
I tell you, it was awful play calling. It was awful.
My real question is, with Arkansas, we know they let go of their offensive coordinator a couple weeks ago. How tough is it to game plan when you have film for so many weeks on one offensive coordinator, and then now you're having to readjust and kind of see what the difference is from all those weeks before for just these couple weeks now with a new guy calling plays?
Well, I honestly, I don't know that it's going to, this is certainly not saying that we're going to have the greatest plan and stop them, but I think it's pretty clear they were frustrated with what they were doing, and I think it's a pretty stark difference. And the guy that's calling it now, whose background is with the former offensive coordinator, I think it's a pretty good bet that you can throw a lot of the film out unless you're just looking at personnel, and probably need to pull a few games from last year, is my opinion, to go with what they did at Florida.
Hugh, what have you seen with Austin Keys being back the last couple of weeks, and how much has he helped that linebacker group? And I guess we've seen that linebacker group overall as they've grown this season.
I thought our linebackers played their best game, truthfully. We had one, we turned loose an over route. Our eyes got a little dirty with the play fake, and we didn't cut the tight end on an. Outside of that, I thought they played really, really solid. And I think Austin being back, it really gives us 4 guys that we can rotate, and they're not having to play. I mean, I was looking at the play count last night. I think Austin played the most, but it was 40 plays maybe, and everybody else is 20s and 30s. And I just think anytime you can do that on defense, especially, particularly in the front 7, you're gonna be fresher and better to take on what you have to take on in that box when it's not me having to play 50, 60 snaps. And so, number one, he's one of our better players. And number two, it takes the load off of it. The load is shared now, among really Cam and Larry and Eugene and him.
Yeah, on the topic of Peyton's pick six, when he gets back to the sideline, you say, what happened? Did he have an alibi at all?
I love him. He said, Coach, I swear I just did not see him. So what do you say to that? Play the next play. It wasn't no excuse. It wasn't, I read the coverage wrong. He said, Coach, I just didn't see the guy. And I said, what do we always say? Don't throw blind. So you got it. Don't throw blind. And so, I mean, it happens to the best of them. He hasn't shown he has not shown that that's his MO, just to fling the ball to the flat and with the coverage standing there. So, I mean, he owned every bit of it, and obviously, I said, bro, my media guys want me to throw it when we're backed up. And so, I mean, you got to, bro, if I'm going to do that, you got to protect me, man. I said to myself, that's why you deadgum run the ball and then punt.
Coach, a lot of talk about the offense, obviously, but quietly your defense is keeping you in every single game. They only gave up 8 points. What are your conversations with Ron Roberts like during the week? You guys talk about his contract extension weekly, or how's he doing?
I don't go in the defensive room much. I never have. I go in there on Sundays, and then we watch the team periods of practice. And then I go in there for recruiting, and then I go in there tell me what we're doing on third down and in the tight red zone. Because I have my hands full with recruiting and trying to help offense and manage our team. And I certainly I would screw it up for him if I'd got too much, but I can help him. I think he would say where I am valued to him is I think he does a masterful job of calling a game, but I do think I help them considerably on third downs and maybe in the red zone, maybe, but definitely on third downs because I can get a feel. I think I have a gift of saying I think you need to give me a hole player right here. I don't know what you call it, but just give me a hole player right here. And I think you need to go two here. Don't go man. I kind of got a feel for how the other team is what they're doing on third down, and so I don't get involved other than really on those scenarios. But you hire people to do a job, and you get out of the way and let them do it until they prove they can or can't. And that's always been my philosophy. And I try not to get too in the way, but if I can help him, I'll ask him, you want me to, if you want me to tell you what I see right here, say so. He said, yeah, I'd love to hear it. I tell him, here's what I would do the next 2 third downs and medium. Here's what I'd do the next 2 third downs and long. As in, well, you play to your strengths, but yeah, you hire people, and you hope that you're not always right. I don't know that I've ever totally been right on every single hire that I've ever made, and you always are. You evaluate that every single year. But I think to this point, I'm pretty pleased with. We got good men in the building, and. I want folks that can drive our culture for sure. And then I think I've got to play to my strengths too, and that's something I'm still figuring out exactly what that looks like.
Right here in the middle. You mentioned in your open, you've got 3 chances to become bowl eligible as you build this program in year 1. What does that mean for you in your game plan to get to a bowl game to postseason play in year 1?
I'm not one to. I never set goals at the beginning of the year. I just think that the goal ought to be the journey and the process of how do you prepare every single day for those opportunities that are coming. Because you've all seen, we play in a league where a lot of things can happen, and you can have injuries that affect you, and you can lose. The ball just doesn't bounce your way one year. And so I want a group of men and young men around us that, man, every day let's just prepare to win this week and see what that says to us at the end. But I have been pretty open about the fact that I think going to a bowl game in year one is desired, needed, wanted. I don't know. It's kind of, I want the extra practices. I want the seniors to be honored. I want our program, our fans, to still have the same energy, moving into year two. And I think all of that, is a part of us getting to a bowl. We've been able to do that at each stop that we've taken over, and I want to do it here. And I think our kids want to do it here. But you got to earn it. And we don't have this is not an easy game on the road this week for sure. And so we're going to have to earn it, but it is something we have put out there as something we desire.
Last question, front row right. I know you talked about Jalen McLeod a lot in the preseason and wanting to get him 100%. These past few weeks with him feeling like he's at that point, he's been really good for y'all. Just what does that do to have sort of a reliable pass rusher on third downs?
Yeah, he plays hard. He's having to play too many snaps. We still don't have the depth at pass rushing that we need. And but boy, he's made some. Look, our D-line Saturday we had more people involved in negative plays than we have. Jason Jones was involved in one. Justin Rogers, Lawrence was in one. We're used to Jalen making a few, but it was good to see all those guys. But Jalen definitely is the biggest threat we have, and that's good for us. But it's also it's been somewhat. When I'm game planning for somebody, and I'm sure vice versa, you're gonna, if you're not afraid of both sides, the slide side is gonna get sent to the best dude, and I think that happens a lot to him. Yep. Thanks, guys.